Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, madam.
Yes,
Yes,
madam.
madam. Yeah, madam.
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Okay, so this slide is available in VLE, yeah, so you can download from VLE. Okay, so for today's topic, you are going to learn about graphical user interface, okay, or in short form as GUI. Um, so in the subject, you are not supposed to design a complicated one. So the content which is included in the syllabus is a simple GUI. All right. Okay, so by today's lecture and also including after we do the practice on the GUI, okay, in the lab, okay, we are expecting students to use the G option pane to create basic GUI input and output dialogues in Java, and also you need to learn how to convert simple console programs into GUI based program. Okay, so simple console program is the one that you learn uh, in the lab class. Okay, one you have any types of the program, you run that and then you get some kinds of outputs, right? The output display, either the program is compute or something related to display or just checking conditions. So that is the console program. Your Java program is the console type. Okay, so what you're going to learn today is about GUI, okay, not mainly about the console. But there is a relation, something like what you have in the console program, then you need to do similar, but the syntax in the GUI will be a different one. All right. Okay, so GUI in short form allow users to interact with programs. So how we determine this GUI? First one, based on the image such as the windows, or it can be the dialog box, or it can be buttons, figure, or the icons, right? So unlike console programs, so GUI programs do not rely on the keyboard only. Okay. Okay, so let's see what is the difference between console and GUI, okay, in terms of the syntax first. Okay, so you are familiar with the scanner input equal to new scanner system in. Okay, so this one, right? Okay, this one is your object name under scanner function, scanner library file. This is to activate your scanner function to start scan the inputs. Alright, then we have the task display, enter your name, and then we define the name as a string and start read the input as the string. Okay, this one, and then we will display back the hello followed by the name. Wait, this name comes from the input that is read in the previous phase. Okay, so the one in the orange box here represent your syntax for the console program. Right, now in the GUI, okay, in the GUI we will be using the J option pins, okay, mainly. So the starting for this GUI that you need to learn is about J option pin, right? So when you want to do this GUI, all of them will be listed as the string, okay? So here, let's say we have name, the variables, then we define this as string. Then in the GUI, this is common codes for J option pins dot show input dialog. Then this is instructions, enter your name, then followed by the next syntax of J option pane to display. So using dot show message dialog. Now, comma hello followed by the input name that is entered in this phase. Alright. Okay, so this is the example of the syntax in the GUI. So what is the difference? Of course, the syntax, but in the GUI program, there is several way that you have to follow. Okay, so of course, the syntax will not be the same. But in terms of logic of the program, the logic is there, but here we have a different syntax. Okay, so now this is the basic that all of students need to know about J option panes when you want to design a simple GUI. Okay, so this J option pane is a part of Swing and commonly used. Swing means that in Java we have packages. Okay, so if you want to create packages or use the packages, so it is under Java Swing. Alright, so one of the part under Swing here is J option pane. We have um, others like the J buttons and so on. Okay, so let's start with the important one, which is the J option pane. So under this J option panes, we can create pre-built dialog box. Okay, and it is simple to design. So you can begin with the simple codings and then no need to design the windows manually. Alright. Okay, so of course, when you want to use these J option panes, it's quite similar to when we want to use the scanner library file, so we need to import that scanner library file. So it is the same thing here. Okay, let's see. I think I need to do some corrections here. Wait, this is actually one line. Right. Okay, so to use this option J option pane, you need to import. Okay, you need to import. So this should be the first line in your program. So to import, so we have java x.swing.j option pane, right? So this is one package, right? It's under swing, followed by the semicolon. Then you can start use the program. Okay, so there are several parts to use this J option pane. One is to display the outputs, okay, or in other words, in the GUI, the GUI we call message dialog. Okay, message dialog GUI. Okay, so in terms of the function is to display the output. So it's quite similar to your system out.print or maybe print lines and so on. Okay, but here you will be using syntax that will show you the figure of the message dialog after you run the program. Okay, so to display the output or the message dialog, the GUI, so using J option pane dot show message dialog, alright, and then parentheses, first part contain the parent, comma, and then message. Alright, so message will be your statements that you want to display. Alright. Okay, next, we can change, for example, the parents to now. Okay, then the message here, you can add the welcoming message. For example, welcome to GUI. Alright. The null means that your message dialog will be displayed, okay, in the centered form. Okay, centered of the screen lah, right? That is the meaning of null. Alright. If it's not stated as null, so the compiler will set directly and random locations or positions on the GUI. Okay. So if you want that the GUI for this message dialog display as centered on the screen, so you need to state as null. Okay, second one is the input dialog. Input dialog is quite similar to the function when you asking the user to enter the input. Alright. Okay, so the syntax will be followed. This is the general form. So we have string and the variable name, okay, for that inputs, and then equal to J option pane dot show input dialog. Okay, So dot show input dialog. Then in the parenthesis is the message or the statement that you want to display as the input dialog, right? Okay, for example here we have show input dialog, enter your name. Okay. Okay, so because in the GUI, right, the one written always as string. Okay, the one written always as the string. So if even you have instructions that ask the user to enter the input as the number, the one readed in the program is actually string. Then because even it is a number, the program read it as the string, so you need to convert that string to a number. So we have extra syntax to convert that string into the numbers, for example integer, double, and so on. All right. Okay, so by now we just assume that we begins with the string. All right. Okay, so there's a remark here, input is always written as string. So even if the input is a string, but later on you want to display or do some calculations, not as a string type, maybe as the integer, double, and so on. So you need to convert that string into that types of variable. Okay, maybe integer, double, and so on. All right, you can convert that. Okay, so how to convert? All right, inputs, we know inputs readed as string, right? Okay, so how to convert? There's issues for the conversion from string to the numbers. Okay, so we can convert the input string into the numbers by using this syntax. All right. Okay, so you must have the string input equal to j option bin dot show input dialog and so on, followed by the integer dot pass int input, for example. Okay, this is a case when you want to convert the string to integer, right? Now your variable is input. What is the data type? It is a string. All right. Okay, now we want to convert this input to the integer. Okay, so when this input, which is the string, need to be converted to the integer. Okay, so we use integer dot parseInt in the parenthesis input. So this input comes from your variable name for this string, right, which is input. Okay, integer dot parseInt input. Okay, so you can change this, the one in the parenthesis, depending on the variable that is work in the string type, right? Okay, then you have to let that equal to a new variable, for example age, and then the new data type as integer, int. Okay, if your input, let's say, is a double or maybe floats, okay, so you can change this integer to double, then assign it to a new variable, then the declaration should be here as double. All right. Okay, so this is the common conventions. All right. Okay, this is a simple GUI program. Okay, so we have input java x.swing j option pane, followed by your public class name and your void main structure. Okay, and then we have the declarations for your variable names as a string, because we want to display the show input dialog. Okay, the input dialog. Then you have the instructions, enter your name. Okay, and then you have another code such as to display the message dialog. Right. So this is to display your message dialog in the as the center on the screen, right? Okay, so this is the difference one. So this is a simple GUI program. Okay, now how about the program? GUI but required some calculations. Okay, so since the program need to use GUI, so we have to import the J option pin. Then we have this example for class name of fee calculator. Okay, then we have the work main structure. Okay, then we have show input dialog, which is ask the user to enter the credit hours. Right, now these inputs will be read as the string. Okay, so the credit hours, we know it can be numbers. So when the compiler read that input as the string, then that input need to convert to integer. Okay. Okay, why we use integer? Because it is a number of discrete value, right? Credit hours, For example, 10 credits, 12 credits, right? It cannot be numbers with decimal place. Okay, so due to that, so these inputs, we need to apply this integer dot parseInt, okay, and then assign it to a new variable name, let's say credit hours, and state what is the data type. So integer int. Okay, then we have the formula to compute the fee that is based on the credit hours. Okay, so let's say the formula is fee equal to credit hours times 250. Okay, so since the credit hours has been converted to the integer types to numbers, then we can do calculation for the fees. All right. Okay, at the end or the last one, the program will display the message dialog using dot show message dialog now, and the total fee, then we need to call the fee values. Right. Okay, so this is example. Okay, any questions so far?
No, madam.
Okay, so next we process. Okay, multiple inputs, how to use the J option pin. Okay, so let's say we have variable a string as a string. Okay, then we have J option pin to show the input dialog. Uh, Ask the user to enter number one, the first input, for example. Then we do another similar instruction for enter number two. Okay, for the second one, we assign it to a new variable b, for example. Both are as the string type. Okay, so remember that when the user key in, when the program is run or the GUI showing, okay, the user will key in the numbers, right? It is read it as a string because we define it as a string. Then that string, a and b, for these variables will be converted to the numbers. All right. Okay, so what types of the numbers will be integer? So we have integer dot parseInt for variable a, and integer dot parseInt for variable b. Then this a and b, because this is a string, so we have to create them with a different variable name and the data type as the integer. Okay. After that, we can do some calculation. For example, let's say we want to calculate the sum between the two numbers. Okay, so the formula will be sum equal to num1 and num2, and then we declare that the variable sum as the integer. Okay, then the last one, we use this J option pane dot show message dialog to display the computed value of the sum. All right. Okay, now in the GUI, okay, there's a functions that you need to use together in the GUI program to terminate the GUI. Okay, so the function is based on system.exit in parenthesis 0. Okay, so this syntax must be used in all GUI program. Okay, because without this syntax, your GUI program will not be terminated. Okay, so basically this should be your last your syntax in the last line. Right, this is to terminate your GUI programs. Okay, system.exit 0. Okay, so previously you have seen example about show message dialog and also show input dialog. Okay, so please take note that the syntax of show message dialog is used for outputs. You want to display outputs. All right, show input dialog, so to make sure that your GUI read the inputs value. Okay, inputs, make sure that you know the one read it as the string. So you need to do conversions lah to numbers. Okay, there's another one, show confirm dialog. This is the process where your GUI will check or read either yes, no, or cancel. You can create this, okay, in the program, yes, no, or cancel. So it is under confirm dialog. Okay, so dialog means that the types of the combinations in the GUI that you can design. Okay, so which one to use, you need to understand the purpose at that task, whether you want to display or you want the UI to read the inputs, or maybe um, to do some confirmations with the user about the program. Okay, for example, asking the user to respond either yes, no, or cancel. Okay. Okay, so this is example for confirm dialog example. Okay, confirm dialog. Okay, so we have choice. Okay, um, asking about the user using the syntax j option pin dot show confirm dialog. Then we have now asking about the user, do you want to continue? So you'll be seeing the GUI with this text, do you want to continue? Okay, then in this case, after the program reads what is the choice, for example, okay, this is not a complete program, right? There's a syntax to read the inputs from the user. After that, the program will check what is the choice value. Okay, if the choice is yes, uh, this is automatically we state as equal j option pin dot yes underscore option. Okay, equal, this is checking, determines the choice whether the answer is yes. Okay, in short form. So but this is the full syntax because everything need to be done in the GUI frame. Okay, in the GUI method. Okay, so if the choice is yes, and then we will display lah, you choose yes. Okay, for example, this is just to state the response, what is the response after the user provide the inputs. Okay. Okay, so there are three different functions for the J options pane that you have learned. So when to use these J option panes? Okay, once you have working, when you have to work program logic. Okay, something like to display, to do some calculations and display back to read the inputs and so on. Okay, and the program work with simple input or output variables or process, and then GUI only work for small applications. You cannot use this J option pin for advanced GUI, for um, GUI that have many functions. You can only design or use this option pin for simple functions. Okay, simple outputs, right, in the user interface. Okay, and what you learn in the concept program, you can transform it into the GUI. Okay, okay, that and since that it works with small applications, of course it is not suitable for large system. Let's say you want to create maybe chatbot system, so you want to use Java based on J option pin, so it is not suitable. Okay, because chatbot have many functions, and you need to process in the chatbot to make sure that it links with your um, data backend, front ends, and also the GUI. So it is actually based on the complex system. Okay, so if you want to design chatbot, for example, so you cannot use this J option pins. Okay, because the system is actually more complex, right? But for J option pin only work for simple system. Okay, okay, so just to highlight again, uh some similarity what you have learned in the console program in the previous lab and with the current topics. Okay, so replace scanner with show input dialog. Okay, scanner is your scanner library file, so then when you state the scanner, so you can replace that scanner functions with show input dialog, right? And you have to remember that J option pins, okay, any variables that in the syntax will be written as the string. Then if any variable that you need to use again not as a string type, you need to convert that input to the new data type, okay, from the string. And in the console program, okay, system, the syntax of system.out.println or print line, print lns, okay, need to be replaced with the show message dialog. This is a similar logic but a different syntax. And in the J option pane, you need to take notes that at the end of the program, you need to at this system.exit 0. Okay. Okay, so this is example. Example of the outputs of GUI. Okay, so this is the syntax. The left one is the syntax for the GUI. Okay, so we have import the J option pane, the class name of message demo, then we have bot main structure, then we have show message dialog. Now welcome to GUI. Alright. Then we have system exit 0. Okay, so when we run this program, this will be example of the GUI. Okay, so the one sentence will be here, this statement, right? Okay, so this is a simple GUI output. Okay, let's see another example for input dialog. Okay, so we have import J option pane, the class name of input demo. We have bot main structure. We have the string name, whereby the syntax here is used based on show input dialog. Okay, so this statement will be displayed in the GUI. Alright, and then uh, show input dialog, because this one will request the user to enter the inputs. Okay, and then show message dialog hello name. Okay, but this one the hello names is not listed here lah. Okay, basically this is the one that the user, there's a white box here. This is the place where the user need to type the name, provide the name. Okay. Okay, so after the user type the input names here, okay, type the names here, then the GUI will be going to the next figure. Okay, the next figure is actually hello followed by the username. So that's why in this screen you cannot see another GUI for this hello name. Alright, because the user need to provide the name first. Okay, then the other GUI will be displayed after read the input. Alright. Okay, so this is example of the program where there is a GUI that showing after the conversions from string to the numbers. Okay. Okay, so here we have import J option pane, class name of convert input demo. Then we have bot main structure. So in the first part in the main structure, there is a string input, show input dialog, enter your age. Okay, so this is instruction for the user to provide the inputs. Age, this one is actually um, the input types of integer, but so because of the input is declared as the string. Alright, so then the value of the age here need to be converted, okay, to the numbers. Alright. Okay, so for example, let's say I'm keying 20, okay, age 20. Okay, so after the compiler read that 20, then we have the syntax to convert that. The one readed here is 20 in a string, okay, 20 which is as the string. So the 20 as the string need to be converted to numbers, right? So which data type? It will be integer type. Okay, age is integer type, so we need to convert that string of 20 to the integer using integer.parseInt inputs, right? Okay, so that 20 in string will be stored as age. The new variable name for 20 is age, the data type as integer. Then 20 string just now will becomes 20 as integer with the new variable name as age. Alright. So when the GUI want to display, okay, so this is a statement using show message dialog. Your age is, then we call the variable which is integer age. Alright. So age is now 20, which is the data type as the integer. Okay, so then we have system exit 0. Okay, so after the program runs and read the input, so this is example of the output that will display. Okay, this is actually output for show message dialog. Okay, show message dialog. Okay, but this is this one is not a complete lah, because I just show for the age only. So you can add the syntax like for age, address, contact number, and so on. Okay, in this in the body of this main structure. Alright. Okay, so for summary for this J option panes, you only work with these one types. There are other part under this swing in Java. Okay, so this is one command that you need to know. And please try with simple GUI dialogues. And take notes that input is always string, so you need to convert to the numbers when some computation is required. And um, once you learn this J option pane, then you can proceed with other swing components in Java. Okay, for example, buttons, uh, escapes, and so on. Alright. Okay, any questions so far? Question?
No, madam.
Okay, so no questions, so I give you the questions. Okay, so we have these questions. Let's see, 10 questions actually. Okay, so read the questions and then type your answer in the chat. Which class is used in Java to create simple GUI dialog boxes for input and output?
C.
C. Let me see the answer. Right, let's see yours. Why C? Quasi. Why C type C that like that? Okay. So answer is J option P now. 1C. Alright. Question number 2. Uh, to use J option pin in a Java program, which import statement is required? So which one is the correct syntax?
C.
Okay, type your answer. Okay, so import javax.swing.j option pins. See this one. Okay, number 3. What is the written type of J option pin dot show input dialog? Okay, so correct answer is D, string. Okay, number 4. Which method is used to display a message dialog in Java? Alright. Alright, so answer is B, 4B. Show message dialog. Okay, next question. Okay, why is integer.parseInt, which is the syntax commonly used with J option pane? Okay, so correct answer is B. Is B, yeah? Right, next question. Which statement correctly converts the user input into a double value? Lambat sikit nak type ni. Tak ada orang bagi jawapan. See carefully see carefully. Okay, so correct answer is B. Alright, B, yeah? Okay, number 7. Correct answer is C. Okay, number 8. Which method is used to display a yes, no, cancel dialog? Option, where's the option? D. There's some students answer D. Okay, so correct answer for number 8 is C. C, yeah? Show confirm dialog. Okay, number 9. Why is system.exit0 recommended in J option pane programs? Okay, so Izu terminates the program to ensure the program terminates properly. Right, so the number 9 answer is C. Okay, so the last question. the last question. Okay, which of the following is the correct step when converting a console program to a GUI using J option pane? Okay, so answer for the last one is B. Okay. B. That's why my thinking is B, B, B. Okay. Now can see. Right. Okay. So just a simple questions for testing your understanding for today's lecture. Right. Okay. So let me share the attendance. Let me share the attendance. Okay. Let me stop the recording first.